fans who chose us in the Fantasy League. That's what matters.
If we don't lose, we win.
I like that. That's not how it works.
Dyrus is going to be trying to go on the front line. Dragons descend into 3 members, and it's going to be sneaky. Put down the shot. A double kill for Meteos as he puts on the pain. Wild Turtle's going to get shot here. This is the fight Cloud9 won. Balls eats down onto Amazing. It's going to be big damage. Meteos gets hit up. Dyrus to the back line. Actually, Dragons descends towards out of the fight, really. Not getting burnout damage in there. It's going to be Lemon Nation going down, but Cleve falls as well as the supports hit the ground. Kai's right on the outside. Does it actually? Oh, no, how did you grab balls best high? Oh, they go in. The Wild Growth is perfect. Cleve is huge now, but is it enough? He's not even turning around to attack. He's running away on the outside. Rat-a-tat's coming through, but it's not able to shred enough damage. Bjergsen's now the focus. Welcome back. We're jumping right into our second game of the day between Team Curse and Counter Logic Gaming. As you can see, we're already hyped. The battle between the Spring Splits 4th and 3rd place teams. Now, in both teams, there were some high-profile roster swaps that could have a dramatic impact on their performances.
Yeah, for Curse, X Special is actually there now, and he's kind of the latest in a long line of supports that Cop has had, that has played with. 7th support that Cop has played with in only 4 splits. And Cop has been a very consistent AD carry amongst all of that. But as we mentioned, X Special was one of the top supports in the league in the spring. He put in 306 assists. He also gained all league honors. So we'll really see if adding him to the bottom lane propels Cop and Curse up in the standings. It's actually the 2nd All-Star support he's now played with. If you think back to the 2013 All-Star game, it was X Special versus Edward. And now he's played with X Special and both. And
Edward. Well, CLG have evolved into an international team with their European jungler Dexter, and now their top laner, Seraph, who is the first Korean player to compete in the North American LCS.
Yeah, and the team actually began holding tryouts after Yen announced to be stepping down. And Yen actually joined a challenger team, Team Frank Fan Gaming, who's doing quite well. But CLG found Seraph, who had been playing with a nationwide Shield organization as a substitute. And honestly, I don't think there's ever been more hype behind a player who's played 1 pro game before. But everyone wants to see Seraph play. He's only had that 1 pro game under his belt, but he's streamed well. We've seen many a highlight clip. Everyone on CLG talks about this guy amazingly, and it's just going to be a question about how well they communicate and how well he does with all the pressure on him right now.
And while CLG say Curse have been playing stronger in scrims and racking up wins, but they're skeptical that they can translate those practice matches into LCS victories.
This season will be really good for us. We've always had kind of okay records versus CLG, but I think that this season things are going to change. I think that we're going to come out strong and we're going to be putting everyone down.
Usually, I think we've been losing scrims a lot. We're probably giving them a little bit more confidence because they're beating us consistently.
I definitely think we're in a better place than CLG right now. Just based off our scrim results, we've beat them in almost every scrim we've played. So unless they're sandbagging all of our scrims, I'm pretty sure that right now we're just a stronger team.
When we were practicing against Curse, we saw they're actually pretty strong. But Curse has always been like good scrim partners, and just like at LCS, they play like really different. A lot of teams just, for some reason, they're better scrimmers than they are performers.
Funny Double says that.
Yeah, I mean, it happened. Used to be CLG was the ones that were just like, we win all our scrims. I don't know what happens in the LCS. And honestly, scrim results, meh. Like they are a decent refactor of like how well you're playing in scrims. But most recent example of that, TPA at the All-Star game. They posted on their Facebook about 3-0 in Cloud9 in scrims, and everyone's like, oh man, Cloud9's done for. Cloud9 went 3-1 in groups. TPA unfortunately went 0-4.
Yeah.
What they didn't post is that the next day they went 0-3 in scrims against Cloud9. It's a tricky thing to deal with in these situations, and obviously with CLG adding a newer player that has more of a learning curve with Seraph compared to X Special, who is just veteran that can kind of walk in and play with anyone, you're going to see those types of scrim results.
Well, we're going to be able to find out quite soon. Let's check out the starting lineups on the blue side. It is Team Curse. That's going to be Quas in the top lane, dominating the jungle, Void Boy in mid, Cop at 80 carry, and X Special on support.
And on the red side, it is Counter Logic Gaming, the unveiling of Seraph in the top lane, Dexter in the jungle, Link in the mid lane, Double Lift on AD, and Afromu on support.
And it'll be interesting because we just saw a game where the AD carries got a lot of farm. They were the ones to farm it out. Cops, he's been one that loves to farm and usually has higher CS in the game. And with that revolving door support that he's been working with for the past few years, I think him and X Special now in that lane, if it is going to be AD focused a little bit with farming, could do very well.
Yeah, and Double Lift, he made his name for himself while farming. mostly.
By
And
himself.
then actually last split, he did more roaming around with the team than he ever really had before. And it was the most successful season he's had on CLG. He also then got to go to the All-Star game where he got a lot of inspiration, I guess, from duo queuing with Mad Life very frequently.
The potential is now inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's probably had more practice with Aframu than any other support at this point. These guys, there's going to be controversy when I say this, but they're the best bottom lane in North America. I think if you just look at it as far as their ability to 2v2 and really the team working around them more so than them working around the team, it definitely works that way. And it's going to be very important to see how they harness that strength of their team with, Link coming back from All-Stars, rejoining the team, so to speak, Seraph joining a new team, and Dexter working with a new solo laner.
Curse here we see on your screen a lot of momentum and really just push that Quas had at the end of the spring split. Hopefully he can carry that over. He was a huge player during the Super Week. I believe he played Trundle 4 times straight across the board, and they got a good amount of wins out of that. We'll see what he can do here, but he's always liked to be an innovator or just, stick to his guns.
And Quas, he's such a curious player in the fact that this guy, CLG is the team that talks about potential, but Quas is the guy with the most potential in the top lane. It's all about confidence for him, and he has been very confident lately. When they win all those scrims, you would be amazed at a team winning scrims consistently, what it just does for their overall quality, even if they're only playing teams that are worse for them. The things that does to you psychologically to just make a bunch of big moves. We may get to see it with LMQ because they got to dominate the challenger scene coming in. That'll be the next game. But Curse, with their scrim records lately, they could roll over the start of this LCS season and surprise a lot of people.
And we saw how sure Voyboy just was in that video. We're going to stomp everybody this season coming in. Usually a little bit of jitters for himself, looking very calm though, ready for this game to come in. It's something that him and the team have always, talked about and worked with, and it's something that affected him once, but then he came back and just played it out. I was actually able to get first blood in that game as opposed to being first blood.
You're right. And Voyboy's a guy who's always heavily motivated by critics, and he's had a lot of them lately. He had a very weak split in his first split as playing a mid laner, but I think way back about 3 years ago when I was actually on Team Dignitas with Voyboy, and he would struggle a lot early on, getting ganked a lot and dying, but then he just he almost went silent for a while, played a whole bunch of solo queue, got ranked 1, and then just started destroying people. And it didn't happen immediately. It happened over a period of time, and he's had a month off now where they've been qualified for the LCS, just working with Xpecial as well, a more strategic player as well. Curse's biggest weakness last split was their ability to strategically close games, and that's what Xpecial wants to do. If there's a time for Voyboy to exceed in mid lane, it would be this summer split. Otherwise, he's got to go back to top.
It's true. How many times did we see Curse, perfectly take a dragon and then get a buff, but then go for that second tier turret that got them killed and pretty much canceled it all out?
Well, the horn is blown. That means Champion Select is underway.
Champion Select does begin underway. The Twitch gets banned out right away. Nobody wants to see that. The tried and true Kassadin. I think we should just glue that picture there. That's where it's going to be for a long time.
Till he gets a few more nerfs, I suppose. It's interesting, though. He has been a little bit nerfed. He hasn't necessarily been taking over games that we've seen because he hasn't been in the games that we've seen. Jack's another common one. These aren't necessarily target bans at each other. These really just all feel like power bans right now.
Also with Seraph on that side, I'm pretty sure Quas is wondering and also wants to match up against that. It's going to be an awesome matchup if we actually get these common lanes to hit. Like we said, AD carry, or like we saw, I should say, the AD carry is definitely getting a lot of farm in this last game, and it might be a trend we'll continue to see. Soraka being banned out, Link will not be able to grab that. We'll see what goes on for the last ban here for Chronologic Gaming. What do they prioritize to be a good pick or overall for Curse?
It's so funny. You look at NA LCS during the end of the playoffs, and Soraka's like a permaban. You go to All-Star, no one plays Soraka. Come back to NA, permaban again. It just goes to show you the regional differences in these teams.
Quas finds some love. Actually gets a Renekton ban for himself. Dominate. You want Eve, and yeah, Eve was actually banned out last game, but she'll find her way in game 2.
It's actually really tough, the Renekton ban, because Curse's strategy that was working for them later in the season was put Quas on Renekton and then make him huge by putting Lulu in there. They can still do it with Mundo, which is a little surprising that they do the Renekton ban. Mundo, Lulu might actually be the next few picks for these guys, seeing as Lucian has already been taken away from them. Because that's a tried and true strategy for Curse, unless they found new stuff in the month of Scripper.
They did just see a Trundle Shyvana matchup. There's no saying it's going to go that same way. We'll see what Dominate and Voyboy decide to pick up here. Looks like Voyboy is getting a bit of chatter out. Dominate waiting on his. So far, Doublelift picking up that Lucian. Loved it towards the end of the split, and Spring didn't play it anywhere near the beginning of it. Said it wasn't, as he says about most ADs,
Yeah.
That's not when I would play.
Oh, he's not that good.
Picks it up and
it's like, oh, actually, now that I've seen other people do it, it's spectacular. Oh, man. Is Curse going to do that TF? Thresh, obviously, for X Special. His tried and true. He had a very limited support pool. He'll only play the very top of his pool. Voyboy's Yasuo is out of this world. It's probably his best mid lane champion.
He fares very well on that Yasuo, and it may be a Ziggs pickup here for Link, which isn't a killer to Yasuo. That flow shield stops a lot of that passive attack damage, and if you dodge everything else, it's a big matchup.
And Yasuo typically isn't the type of mid laner you pick blind. It's the it's the type you pick into a Nidalee or something else. Voyboy taking a big risk here picking it so early. And I do kind of want to go back a little bit as well, just to the Shyvana pick, only because that was Nien's tried and true champion on CLG.
That's true.
And everyone has been waiting to see Seraph. Has kind of wondered, is he going to revolutionize CLG?
Gonna bring us 80 Nidalee?
Is he going to, break the game? How much is he going to change it? Or are they just going to plug and play with him? Are they going to try and take Seraph slightly better mechanics than Yen, feel like he can just fit into the team and keep doing the CLG thing? Game one, it's plug and play.
Plug and play indeed, something that CLG has seen quite often. So they'll be running the same circle here. Cop and Xpecial to round this one out. We need a top laner coming in for Quaz, and Cop needs an AD carry. Still looking at a few of his favorites on the board. But it has to be something that can get away from this team. You're going to have Dexter on you right away on that Elise. He is ferocious on that champion.
That'll be
Whoa! Yes! Cop locks in the MF, and the Mundo gets locked in for Quaz in the top lane, so they don't synergize the Lulu pick in there, and it's left open. So Link can grab that as well if he wants.
Wow. Misfortune coming back.
Coming back indeed for Cop.
Yeah. She has been very strong for a while, but not necessarily competitive pick because she's fairly punishable if you can get on top of her. The Thresh will help out with that a fair bit.
A little bit AP ratio on that double up now.
And a Kale. Oh man, this is exciting. Woo. So a lot of damage coming in the mid lane right there. Kale against Yasuo. One of the hardest things for Yasuo to lane against because he can't block the auto attacks from Kale with his wind wall. Only the Q, which he can sneak in at the right moments. And
wow.
Yeah, so a lot of really good back and forth here. So the early Yasuo pick countered by the Kale. I also feel like the Morgana Elise isn't that good against Mundo. Think back to the chain stuns. You dark bind them for 3 seconds, then you cocoon them for 2 seconds. Mundo, with the tankiness and health regen and crowd control reduction, more importantly, can eat those bindings and stuns and protect the rest of the team. It won't be like there's a Mundo perma-stun in your team. He can kind of walk through those things.
It's not going to be a bad matchup, and we'll see really what Link has to bring back as well. He's had some time at All-Stars. We'll see how that flows with the team. Before we jump into the game, let's check who you've been voting for over at LOLesports.com. With 80% of the vote, CLG leads Curse right now.
Yeah, big vote. And remember, vote over on Twitter as well. Send hashtag CRS win or CLG win to @LOLesports. We'll be checking back to see if the 80% holds the same after that champ select and at the start of the game.
It's going to be very interesting. Curse has always been a team to pile something in for the late invade. We'll see if they try to get some kills on it, because with the vision now, both teams are kind of just like, they're doing it, we'll do it too. We saw last game that Cloud9 tried to do something different. It didn't hurt them in the end, but they were left kind of running around for a little bit.
It's something that the European teams did a lot of as well. We saw the double jungle happening. That's actually something Alliance was doing over in the European LCS. These guys are very much kind of on the same page. We have a much more global game now, where even though we have small regional differences like the Soraka ban, a lot of these people are kind of adapting the same overall mentalities when they enter the games. And therefore, we're seeing some fairly similar play across regions.
And I'm excited, as everybody else, to see how these teams do, how we get into the split, because this is kind of writing the story for the team. They're going to think about this game the next time when things happen. They're going to be kind of, set back because they want a fresh start. You always do in your mind. It's hard to not think about. The fans are ready and the players are ready. Right now, their mind is dead set on a victory for the first game of the summer split. Curse versus CLG here as we get into game 2. It's going to be a lockdown on the sweeper for Dexter to start off in the jungle.
Yeah, and a pink ward.
Yep.
With the 30-second timer on trinkets and all the early warding, you can definitely get down more vision, but CLG has taken this to the next level. They're trying to. A ward by Afrim, which is already placed.
They're just going to use it right away.
And a pink ward plus super from Dexter. They're going to be looking for some very early vision control here against an Eve, which is important.
Slow movement, but both teams are kind of huddling all power into one spot. CRS is going to start making their way in. Dexter will be seen. That's one cleaver. The flash immediately coming out.
The Spiderlings were not able to block that cleaver. I did not expect it to land. That's why Dexter felt so safe with the Spiderlings, but as soon as it landed, he knew he had to flash. Flash burned at level 1 is disaster. They're still going after him, too.
Still going after it, very much so. Figuring that a ward either was placed and they are now past it, or they're just walking through it and they really don't care, and that seems to be the case because they're right back where they found Dexter, figuring if he was here, he probably didn't throw a ward down.
Yeah, but despite all this invading, they don't actually bring a sweeper, so they don't know if they're in a safe rush. They actually are, but there's no way of them knowing that, so they have to be very antsy here, worrying a little bit about getting caught by a binding right in the brush and then an invade.
That's true. We've seen a lot of the AD carries being played lately. Twitch, not really, he has the ambush to go invisible, but Cop on Misfortune does not have any escapes to get away from this team.
Yeah, and at this moment, CLG doesn't really know if CRS just sat in that brush and recalled. They're just guessing. They do have the ward on this buff, so they can kind of do, and they end up trading blue for red. That doesn't mean they're not going to collide with each other. Everyone is on the top half of the map.
Ooh.
They
Good
got
ward,
seen
though.
in that ward.
Yep.
Yep, that's real important.
Great ward coming in from CLG.
Cop.
Stops them from going over. Cop's going to be the first one in. They get it onto him. Xpecial's doing what he can. Tries to put himself in between Cop and the danger, and he does a great job at it. And you can see Xpecial is really holding his own here. Cop trying to let the
backup on both sides.
Quas on the other side. Seraph is going to have enough damage to come in here. He actually flashes, doesn't get it, but it does go over to Double Lift. A huge start for his Lucian in whatever lane he decides to go to. Quas could be in a real bad situation, but he gets his flash over the wall. We're seeing a lot burned out here, but a good first kill.
And that is the collision we were kind of waiting for. Getting Double Lift first blood is kind of a big deal. It was a reduced gold value because it happened before 4 minutes, but it's still going to be rather important. He's not shopping immediately, but that will be big for his first item buy. Bloodthirster Rush is huge on Lucian.
And whether or not they meant to do it, being so close to the top lane allows Double Lift to farm right away and already start getting even more ahead in the game. So this worked out very nicely for CLG, putting a ward down behind them to make sure their escape path was still clear. Very good play.
Yeah, and now the lanes are going to begin to shake out. We have to note that Link versus Void Boy was unaffected by all of this. The only thing that will affect him is knowing where the junglers are, which actually, or at least where they started, which will make it a lower threat lane for both of them. Specifically Link as well, because he knows Dominate flashed away defensively and is going to be farther behind than Dexter. So Link already had an edge because of the kill pick, now has a little bit extra.
Just watching Void Boy, such a technical game on Yasuo, making sure he always has something to dash back to if you dash forward. And like we said, one of his strongest. We'll see how he fares against that Link. A great pickup on Kale. Cop has not played Misfortune in quite some time, so having, like we said, the lanes to farm, definitely gonna help.
Yeah, you can see those spring stats that just popped up. That was over a year ago for his Misfortune. She has received that slight rework, but still plays mostly the same. Can't wait to see how Cop deals in team fights. It's that very far back style. He's going to want to try and work with the Yasuo. There's not too much, actually, for Void Boy to ult off of, whether it's a Thresh Flay or the little displacement from the hook. Yasuo can ult those, and that's when Cop is going to be wanting to get off his bullet times.
And instead of sharing, it looks like they are carrying on the side of CRS. One each in the Wraiths and one for the bottom Golems. They're not going to be going double like CLG here and trading that experience. We'll see how that actually affects it for Quas and Dominate coming into this one, because if they do find a fight, they're worse off not being in twos.
Boy does have flash. He might end up having to use it here as Dexter and Seraph come in from the flank.
Good push. Dexter taking one shot. They don't have too much vision over the side, but a great pink ward. That's Dexter's early pink. And that's what they needed for vision on to Dominate.
All right, so CLG doing a lot of movement early on in the game. You could tell that was kind of their last rotation on the movement because they left a wolf up in the bottom left side of the map right there. I mean, they're probably going to try and stick to their own jungle from here on out. They're in denial mode.
So is Quas as well. Don't go too far, Dominate. They want to get him to the brush. They can have
to move
way better execution. Yep.
They're expecting this, but also the turret is too dangerous at this point. Yeah, and CLG is just going to continue the jungle. Safe play.
Safe play indeed, but this means CRS is also setting themselves up for things that aren't working. So a little bit of time bought there. They're going to be still getting Wraith. They're going to still get White, and they're going to get what they need.
Quas has to be very careful right now. Even though it's just 2, he just hit level 3, and he's a big, squishy man.
Oh, usually this is just before level 5 when the jungler comes up, but they're going to go ahead and do a 2v1. Not getting Quas down. He is chugging down on his health potions right now, still taking some caster shots, and it looks like he is going to be quite dead soon. Running towards the turret, 110, 150, HP's going up, but it's quickly about to go down.
We've seen that many times before. Top laner who's under level teleporting top against 2, expecting to be safe because it's not 3, but underestimating the level disadvantage that he is under. 2 kills for Doublelift before he shops. Picks up the BF sword straight off the bat at 6 minutes. He's going to be a terror.
Yeah, already a big lane bully within the game, and now he is ridiculously huge. Still level 4 to level 4 on Cop, but that item makes him so much bigger right now, especially if CLG were to try something very, very early in the game for a team fight. But right now, they're happy with what they've got. You can see Voyboy keeping those dashes available for himself. Takes a little bit of damage. They trade just about even as Link heals himself.
Yeah, even farm in mid lane. Kayle and Yasuo both scale very aggressively. I'd say Kayle probably scales better, all things considered. So CLG very much comfortable right now with what's happening. Their other lanes are holding even. Seraph has just been happy in the jungle with Dexter. Hasn't really had to do much. It'll be interesting to see how he holds his farm. Now he's doing the teleport in the bottom lane, but notice how there's equal levels down there in the bot lane. It's not level 4 versus 2 or 4 versus 3, 4 versus 4, and he is safe with that teleport. But it didn't save the turret. Mainly just using it for positioning.
Did save it. Able to soak up the experience a little bit faster. Dominate.
Oh, no.
More than 5 seconds to take that one out. He is hesitating on it, but that's because he's pulling the team in. Link's going to be there. Intervention is up, but that's a level 4 Dexter. They got to be careful. These guys are going to die real fast if they get that front end burst. Back to the side. A great repel coming in from Dexter, but the denial of vision from Dominate into the brush. Seraph now running for his life. One last attack coming in from Quas, and they are able to finalize kills separated from each other to mid and red buff. Quas takes one more shot coming in from Link, and it looks to be a great fight coming in for CLG and Curse on both sides for what you're looking at.
2 down for CLG, which is actually a benefit of Curse, but the negative is that Quas died again and he's level 3.
Right.
Seraph was level 5 when he came in there, and Doublelift was happily farming that whole time. In the skirmish sense, it was a win for Curse, but in the game sense, having a level 3 Mundo, the Curse relies upon to soak up the bindings and cocoons from Morgana and Elise is very bad.
A little bit of gold for Doublelift coming in. CLG picks up pink wards on Dexter and Seraph. Map control is a priority right now for them as they get a little bit of ground on that fight. They know the teleports are down on both sides, so it's all about the movement. They're just walking around and being in the right spot as it is. 8.5 minutes into this game, only a small gold lead coming in, 1.8 due to all of that. We'll see if they can continue to hold it. Cop is at 57 to 66. These guys have kind of just been pulled out of the lane when it happens. Free farming, and they're still missing a few here, so trying to catch up.
Yeah. Doublelift wants to get his Bloodthirster as soon as possible so he can start stacking that up. Lucian with the Bloodthirster is a mid-game monster, especially considering there's pretty much going to be no one on the enemy team that can duel him. Even Yasuo doesn't have the strength at this moment to take down a Bloodthirster Lucian.
The one thing they got is the wall. Hopefully he can block it out once he starts doing the culling, but it's got to be in the right spot. Doublelift can always find a way to get into the right spot. I'm sure that comes from the Vayne mechanics, though.
Yeah, the general AD carry mechanics. If you're Cursed, the Dragon is incredibly important for you right now, but you can't necessarily use the teleport as bait because your top laner is level 4. You want your top laner to be able to teleport down with ultimate and make an impact, but he can't do it. He's 3 levels behind the enemy AD carry, and they're leaving him alone in that lane. They're sacrificing Quas for the overall team right now.
Needs to get to that level 6. CLG knows they have all the time in the world right now with vision on the map. They're able to throw down the pink wards and wards they need. Curse will grab the dragon here. They start to move and do for themselves. They're not waiting for things to come to them, so they still have strategies on the board to use.
Yeah, I mean, considering what happened at level 1, giving Doublelift that 1 kill, and then the bad teleport by Quas early, Curse is working with what they have left. They also picked into a pretty difficult matchup in the mid lane for Voyboy, so the fact that he is sticking even in CS is good, but what is bad is that Link has managed to pick up 2 kills just in the back and forth, which will mean he will soon be able to really bully out Voyboy hard.
There's no telling when the fight's going to come to you, and your mid laner gets a few kills that you weren't the one to give him. Zeo coming out as the static shiv almost finished up here for Voyboy. He's trying to do what he can. This lane will be pushed a bit more, and hopefully he can get himself roaming a bit. His Link, he usually loves to roam. When you see him on Ziggs, he's out at level 5 before he even has the ultimate. Right now, just soaking up because he knows there's quite a bit of vision to be had in the jungle. Right now, it's only on their side. Whoa.
Whoopsie. He's got it.
It's a tricky wolf.
Yeah. Check this out, though. It's Voyboy running top lane instead of Quas. We saw a very different story from Cloud9 when Balls was down below, where they were allowing him the free lane farm. They're allowing Quas no farm. How is he going to get back in the game? I feel like you can't necessarily win a game if your Mundo is that weak against a team composition that relies so heavily on having him be a strong frontliner. This is I think it's a bit of a strategic quality by Curse early on.
Moved towards mid, and then he did just back, so I guess he goes back towards the top lane. A little bit of movement there, as you're saying. Curse isn't using to their advantage.
And look at this. I mean, even on the other lane where Seraph is farming with Shyvana, he's freezing it because he knows there's nowhere for Quas to farm right now. Voyboy push top, there's too many people mid, and there's a frozen lane in the bottom. This is exactly what CLG wants as far as the farm denial top lane gameplay strategy is evolving.
Control over the game. Seems like Seraph has a good mind on what to do. They wouldn't have brought him over if he didn't, so he's going to be happy to stay in that bottom lane and farm 44-27, and he knows he doesn't even need to back. He's not finding face-to-face pressure right now. It's only minions coming at him. Middle lane now occupied by the AD carries and supports. Aw.
It's a nice share, honestly. Wanted
nice
to share
guy.
the cannon.
Good dodge
Thresh
out.
doesn't get the execute on his auto attack, so he has to find creative ways of sharing cannon minions. That's actually an interesting thing. I was talking with Dominate a little while back about how he's very protective over his cannon minions with previous supports. If Bunny Fufu would miss one cannon minion while trying to share, Cop would take him for the rest of the game. X Special might need to fix that up a little bit because sharing the cannon is very important for your support's gold flow.
Absolutely. You can see the Hook sharing it up as he did it just previously. And it looks like Dominate's going to be clearing the whites as there is nothing else to be done right now. Quas still having a hard time in the top lane, but it's Link rather to be here. Playing on Kale. Haven't seen him on it in a while. Maybe bringing a few things back from playing with Cloud9, practicing over in the All-Stars area.
Voyboy still getting the free lane farm as well. The mid lane farm has been dominated by CLG. Curse is in a pretty bad spot right now, all things considered. CLG with great control. Fancy moves!
But not a show.
A lot of dashes on Yasuo. Maxes his E, actually, on Yasuo. Sweeping Blade. Hence all the dashing.
Hence all the dashing, indeed. Nash's Tooth picked up by Link. Be able to help a little bit more. I'll be interested to see when Curse can get themselves in range for a fight. The utility Cop brings on Misfortune, and as he always has been very big. 113 to 120 on, a bit behind in CS, but that's what he's doing and making up right now in the mid lane as he soaks up. Don't miss it.
There it is.
All right.
X Special, the reliable gold sharer on Thresh.
That's why they got him.
Yeah.
There you go. Minute 57 on the Dragon. A bit of pressure that I'm sure CLG wants to use. Dexter says, you are not getting that. Great cocoon going out, and he's going to give a little bit of medicine over to Dominate on that one. But it doesn't look like they want to give this one up just yet. The pink ward coverage on that blue, on that outside banana brush right there is giving them what they need to keep eyes on Dominate. He's not able to do much.
Yeah, notice the 2 blue buffs that CLG has as well. It just speaks to control. On the overall map. Gold lead now 2,000 instead of 1,500. Static shift is completed onto Voyboy, so he might look to be a bit more of a team fight threat. But without a tank line to go in, Yasuo can't really go in either.
Right.
Unless they're able to find skirmishes. But with the way CLG is moving around the map, the skirmishes are just not to be found.
Something we were wondering was, you know, will CLG be able to conduct these fights with Seraph in intense communication? Will everything go correctly? And I think the pick on Shyvana, oh my gosh, so close. I don't think Doublelift wanted to eat that turret shot.
Yeah, Cop out trading Doublelift hard right there. No Summoner's Burn though, but some map pressure down. Some time now for Cop and X Special in the mid lane. While Doublelift has to go steal up in the jungle.
Good rotation coming up here. Dexter, as well as Link. Looks like Link's taking out a ward for himself. He's going to find Dominate. Oh my gosh, he crushed Dominate down to half HP in a few shots on the left side of the map there. Whew. That's going to be a Lantern save. So Link is not anybody to be messed with right now.
No, kill with Nashor's Tooth. is already scary and will remain to be scary for the rest of the game. It's like another 80 carry on the team as far as relative threat goes, and it's going to be a matter of Seraph protecting that because they're running a one-tank team as well.
CLG moving into the jungle. They're a team that just wants to take everything before they win. All your inhibitors, all your turrets. They want to make sure it's a definitive takedown.
If you remember, very early into the spring split, CLG had a 4-0 win over Curse where they just controlled everything. It was actually with Hotshot GG on the team. That was kind of a mark where, hey, this Curse team doesn't know what to do when they start falling behind. They need to break those habits. That's one of the big reasons they signed Xpecial. Xpecial says that's what he wants to do. He said this is when he can become a leader. This is a big moment for his career. And early on, at least in game one, they are getting very much outplayed by CLG team-wise.
The first kill for Doublelift. Oh, the flash in. Wow, Afromu taking a lot. Throws on the Black Shield a little late. A great hook onto Dexter, but Voyboy gets himself into the fight. Quas going back and forth. Seraph looking to go down. A shot from Voyboy takes him. Possibly the double kill coming in, and it is going to be a hit up there. Link gets one for himself before he goes down, but Curse makes the necessary moves to take down mid.
Huge fight by Curse right there. They had the goal disadvantage, but now they can get it back. They still have 4 people pushing this, and Link and Seraph, their 2 solo lanes, are dead.
Beautiful. They have the Tormented Soil and the Static Shift to come in. No worries on lane pushing. No worries on the turret going down. They're going to grab 2 in a row on this one. Very good plays. Voyboy coming up huge. Xpecial with a good grab there. Everybody on time for that fight.
Moving the gold lead to 1,500. Let's check out how this works. Afro really overcommits at the start of this one. The whole team sits in the box, and the binding didn't even land. Then Quas gets a great TP in behind. Even though he was behind, he could not be damaged because all the focus had already been blown elsewhere. That is the perfect fight for Curse. CLG lost their patience, missed the initiation, but went anyway. Curse turns it around beautifully.
Not something I expected to happen. Doublelift being so far ahead in items as that fight came up. The culling going to the opposite side of the fight, pretty much parallel with everybody.
Well, actually, I believe Doublelift hadn't really bought before that fight. It was Bloodthirster to Bloodthirster. They were even on 80 carries as far as items are concerned.
Cop getting himself back in quickly. Looks like down to the bottom lane. Link is going to have good damage onto the turret, but he does not have too much vision, and that kind of gets him scared.
Oh man, game on. I mean, we're talking...
Absolutely.
We heard the players talking about how Curse has been winning in scrims and has a lot of confidence in. Honestly, when you're down 2,000 or 3,000 gold, a lot of times if you've been losing a lot of games, you just end up kind of giving up and allowing the other team to push you around. It looked like that was what was happening with Curse, but the way in which they re-engaged that fight spoke to having a lot of confidence and decisiveness right there. They teleported in, everyone went strong, and it ended up turning into a 2-for-1, but more importantly, 2 turrets.
And if you recall, Curse is one of those teams that could more than not win a fight when they're down in gold. They kind of take you by surprise. And that's exactly what they needed to do. CLG was not ready, but now does Curse fall back into a bad habit of we got a little bit, do they take too much? Yeah, they want to take more, but they usually go for too much. We'll see what happens. Is it CLG trying to step onto the wrong side here?
Yeah, well, CLG is trying to maintain blue buff control. They'd love to have it on Link and Dexter. That time, Dominic gets it.
And Smite down. Dominate known for securing and stealing, if you will.
He's a great smiter.
Yep. A lot of good smiters now in the league. Picking up Dexter. Got Amazing now coming in. It's going to be good fights when we get to the objectives. 20 minutes on the clock. CLG has found themselves about 1,600 gold lead. And 5-4 as the turrets have been cleared off the front side. No, they got 1 top and 1 bottom left out. So 3 down on each side. The second tier mid.
And now with this very close game that has become 3 turrets down on each side, 1,500 gold.
Right.
We really have to look towards Xpecial. And I know it's early on in the season, so you can't judge everything by this game. But Curse's big weakness was their strategic play. They could play with teams, but they couldn't close the better teams. They beat almost all the bad ones, but always lost to the good ones. This is what Xpecial needs to do for the team. He needs to kind of guide them. Obviously, everyone on the team makes calls.
Yes.
Dominate's very vocal as a player. It's got to be him and Xpecial making the big calls here and finding ways for them to win. Group them together at the right times and make sure they don't make big mistakes. There's Voyboy.
Oh, a great dash out as well, and they're not going to be able to continue this. Dexter gets one last Q. Very cautious play. Voyboy has been kind of acclaimed in the past for getting himself into bad situations when he thinks he's okay, but he's definitely taking into consideration the safety issue when he does engage now.
They saw 2 bottom. The longest binding in the history of mankind right there, lands from Afro Move.
Extra grab.
Yeah, but the other guy who's tested here is Voyboy. He was under so much criticism. 2-0-2 on Yasuo, picks into a bad matchup, knows the ult's down on Link, see if they can get a close.
They do get the ultimate, that's the slow. They think they can turn it on to Voyboy, but they get him up, knock it in the air. Link cannot turn it around fast enough.
Nice team collapse right there. Getting a kill down onto Link. He's doing that Hurricane Kayle build that has gotten so much popularity. A lot of things about that Hurricane build that are actually working quite well. When it splashes the Hurricane attacks, it applies Kayle's passive on all the targets. So the team shred is actually very high. You combine that with the Shyvana shred, and you can get some pretty nifty looking team fights there. Shyvana doesn't have shred anymore. Never mind. But all the damage with Shyvana, and you get some pretty nifty team fights.
Double lift. Very low in HP. Special trying to get in with the mobility boots, but he cannot get in range just yet. We were talking a little bit about the strategies of, you know, how Dominate makes those calls, and they'd always say he'd be the one to make a call, and he sounds so sure about it that we would do it. Yeah. And I think Special can bring in for them those solid calls that everybody kind of gets around without thinking, all right, we're doing this on a whim. So I think that, as you said, might be the closeout they need.
Could be. It's always great to have two kind of different-minded strategy callers. You have the guy that wants to make all the calls, but then you have one other person who can come in when they want to make another one. And that call could always actually trump the other one. That's my personal favorite communication style. I'm not sure if that's how Curse is doing it, but they need some communication right now because COG's grouping around Dragon.
As long as the communications aren't polluted, you're good to go. Got the Dark Binding coming out, a good clear. Nice calling coming out from Double Lift to deter the entrance into the Dragon fight, but I don't know how to deter them.
They will
be. The hook goes in, just missing Link on the flash as well. Quaz on the other side, he is partying right now with Afromu. They're just gonna go ahead and go for a walk. Met up with Double Lift on that one. Now Quaz is a third wheel here. Link is also coming in. Voyboy throws down the ultimate. Tries to get into the fight and Cop's too far away to really apply the damage on the bullet time. A 1-2-3, but he can't finalize it. The static shiv made it look like he was gonna get them all, but it was just too little.
That fight was so close, and I say, even though he's dead, MVP Afromu right there for drawing everyone around, delaying things just the right time. So after the Dragon goes down, watch Afromu. He stops Dominate from getting into range for the slow. That could have killed Link and Dexter if he was able to get there. The binding stops, and then he also forced Mundo back in this direction, close eventually to his peril because he landed yet another binding as he retreated. No one was in range for that bullet time. Voyboy was an inch away from trying to clean up because of all the damage. What a fight for CLG. They regain control of the game.
Really doing a great job. Seraph's been participating in a few of the fights. He's been out of there for 3, has the 4 assists under his belt. Still building himself quite tanky now after that Blade of the Rune King. He's got health and magic resistance. Hasn't really finished his item. He's just piecing together what he needs. It's been working because he hasn't seen much fight. CLG is playing this knowing it's always kind of a 4v5 with Seraph off on the edge.
Yeah, he's doing much more side farming than Quas is. Quas is trying to become involved in the team. The teleport there, they just lost everything. They lost the Dragon and they lost the team fight control. Plus, they gave up shutdowns for Voyboy's killing spree. Curse is going to need another really fortunate fight like they had to pull back the first time. They want a chance in this one because the scaling of CLG right now might just take off.
The teleport is down. That could be tough for Quas to get in very quickly. We always hear that once Mundo's in the middle of the fight is when the problem is created. So they need to be able to activate that. 7-6 coming up on 25 minutes, and there's pink wards galore going out by CLG. They got a few more to put down. They got one towards Baron and one on the bottom side towards Dragon, making sure every objective is clear and they have eyes on Dominate.
And the farm across the board for CLG is much higher as well. Link, 232, double 224. Items as well, starting the pull ahead. Trinity Force is much more powerful than the Phantom Dancer of Cop. Those 2 early kills really showing through for Double at the moment.
Seraph fearlessly now running down top lane. Looks like he's going to get some warding for himself if he can get over to the right spot. He just decides to put it down a little early. He'll stay up here, drawing now Quas to the top side. He talked about that CS just a little bit ago. 50 is the difference, and it's pretty much a full item coming in here. Just the Spirit Visage, or I should say Spectral Cowl right now for Quas. And CLG is formulating something. Good vision by Xpecial.
And everyone wants to know as well, we're talking about this vision game, the Quas and Seraph playing their own matchup on the top lane. how Seraph will interact with the rest of CLG and how the communication barrier is going to be, especially with teleport top laners having to come in at exactly the right moment, something even North American top laners struggle with frequently. So far, it is really CLG playing a 4-man game and Seraph coming in when he wants. So at the moment, it's actually working very well.
And they're not putting too much on his shoulders either. They're not saying you have to do this and this.
Yeah.
He can get accustomed to the team. Ooh, wow.
Oh dear.
Special. They do get the pink ward, but they're not able to set up much. He says, get away. One last hook. And, you know, once Seraph is tested, it's going to be quite a surprise for people if he comes out on top, because right now they're just kind of thinking it's kind of the middle line. Nothing crazy is happening yet.
Slow and steady wins the race for him.
Exactly.
Down bottom, trying to split push. There is a red buff Yasuo, though, but he's got backup. If he can draw them towards Kale, they will kill Voidboy.
He actually taking quite a bit of damage here. Dragon's Descent out of the fight. Wasted what he needed to. Blade of the Rune King to get himself a little bit more HP, because it looks like it could continue here. Kwas and both Dominate coming down on the top side. As they get out of that, we do see that Seraph can live through a 1v1 here with Voidboy right off the bat. So that's good if they want the Dragon's Descent initiation.
That was without his Chain Vest. Now he just picked up a Warden's Mill because he's building towards Radwin. So that type of fight will not happen in the same manner again. He did not even die, and if he can make it back in time, they will really not lose much. But they did lose temporary vision control of Baron, in which Curse is going to try and get a pick to get back in this game. This is smart. Whoa! Double knew that was a dangerous ward. Luckily, Curse didn't have vision on top of the Baron pit to try to hook him coming in.
Doublelift might get post-traumatic stress syndrome walking around that area after taking red buffs. Gets a little bit scared and his memories come back. 43,000, 39,000 right now. We were talking a little bit about Seraph earlier. CLG in general, really, as we said, an international team. We're a team that went to Korea to train. Now years ago, now has a Korean player on the team. Definitely focusing to advance themselves and not just between the two leagues. They're looking out.
European jungler.
Yep.
Coach lives and casts in Korea.
Yeah.
It's really just going to contribute to, I think, the overall growth of the league, and even especially in North America, because you're bringing in little bits of everyone's scene into your own team to try and combat everyone. You have little secrets about everyone.
Right now faring quite well, the entire team of Counter Logic Gaming. Doublelift and Aframu having a very nice early game with an early kill for Double. And he was able to pick one up right after that as well. So far assists from there. I'm sure he's not too happy about that, but they're looking to get some more. Curse to mid real fast for about 3 share on minions. Looks like they had something in mind there, but it just stopped.
Yeah. What's in mind right there for Curse is they're falling behind, and they're hoping that something good happens, because Kale is becoming a monster which they cannot deal with, but there's also a nice tank line being built up by CLG, so they want to focus Link and Doublelift, but they can't, because there's black shields, interventions, and a strong tank line being formulated by the CLG. The team composition is absolutely coming together strong for CLG as they rotate to pick up another dragon.
And it is indeed theirs. Link picking that one off. Once they get to these turrets, that Lich Bane is going to be hellacious damage that they're going to be dealing with. With that Dragon Jet, it could be a Baron. We're looking at about 5,800 now, 4,000
They have to pull off right now.
Down to 3,600, and Baron is going to be left. Seraph's hanging out in there alone right now. Oh, he hit the wall.
Oh, no.
He's going to take half health from Baron. Very unfortunate to start the fight. He dives. Copy stops. Bullet time right away. What a dive is from Seraph. But do they have the follow-up? Dominate takes a few more culling shots on the backside. It is not going to be enough. And CLG is going to go on a tear here in this fight. Face to face, Doublelift says draw, and he comes up with the win. Shot to the heart of Cop.
Wow, the reach from that Seraph ultimate on Shyvana destroyed the bullet time. It meant the rest of Curse was trapped without the finishing damage required. Watch this fight one more time. They took a lot of damage from Baron, but honestly, so did CLG. Hitting the wall and getting taken to half there really made them panic a bit. They do stun, and here's this. Cop thought he had a perfect bullet time, and honestly, he did. But there was a dragon in the way. That would have completely changed the fight. Aftermu then follows with an ultimate of his own. Zhonya's at just the right time after the stun there, and the high damage team of CLG with Link and Doublelift obliterated Voidboy, who was then in the middle of the team with nowhere to run.
CLG getting what they wanted out of that. Curse thought they had a little bit more time to work with that there in CLG's rotation, but we all know about CLG, and we all know about rotations.
At this point, everybody knows the word. Some people disagree with it at this point, but honestly, that Hurricane on Link The 306 on double. It's building towards a GA, actually, I feel like, which is a smart move against the Yasuo.
Yeah.
Knowing that they have more than enough damage. If he goes GA, then Link doesn't even need to worry about ulting double lift with his intervention at the right time. It simplifies the fights even more so for CLG. To be exactly what they want.
Special building safety in the Mikhail's Crucible. Aframu, safety and damage with his Zanyas. That's going to be finished up there. 2,000 gold more in the pockets of the support there. So just across the board, 3,000 gold for the mid lane and 80 carry. CLG is far and away on top of this game right now in every lane.
And speaking of Link, if you were CLG, you could not be happier about what conspired over the All-Star break. He got to play, first off, in the environment of Cloud9, which I'm sure there's a lot of learning he can take to CLG from that. But he got to scrim against Faker dozens of times. The things he could potentially learn from those things, not to mention playing against Shiyang, the Chinese mid laner as well, just that entire experience really brings a lot to his repertoire. He didn't even play Kale at the All-Star, but he's playing fantastically now, out-farming everyone, just powering through down to that bottom lane and really being a strong player for CLG. They need stuff to add to the strength of double and after in the bottom lane, and they're finding it.
This also has to happen a lot more for the solo lanes lately. With the amount of roaming we get from the junglers and the top laners, Link has to fend for himself. So All-Stars is only going to help having that experience coming in here. Boy seemed to struggle a little bit, but not in the lane, just towards the outside part of the game. So that means the teamwork of CLG is just far and away better right now. 7-11 as they move in. It looks like the pickup of Seraph is so far working for him.
Yeah, he hasn't had to do much, but he has done things at the right moment.
Right.
Little hiccup there with the wall, but uh-oh.
Wow, whoa. Could have looked for a lot there if they would have gotten that kill. They may have kept going. Don't know if they want it. Dominate does get seen on the edge. No initiation from both sides.
COD is trying a split push here with Kale because Kale can 1v1 pretty much anyone. If they get enough hooks on X Special, they drop him down.
Right down indeed. Black Shield. Repel goes right up. Dexter comes down, and the safety measures work beautifully.
Yeah, now with minions on both sides, they can take a bunch of things. They're splitting Curse even more thin. Sometimes you think a team would group 5v4 after getting a kill. CLG continues the split push. They might get both turrets.
This is ridiculous. You got a Lucian in the mid lane to crush down those waves. Seraph as well, taking a lot of damage. Dragon Set used as a disengage. The rotation now coming up from Link, and he's there, but very good kill from Voyboy on the long range hit.
Well, they drop one. Double Lift and Link are still very strong, though. They're going to continue this. They're going hard for the inhibitor.
My
Voyboy's ultimate, if he can land it, would be big. Oh, dear Lord.
I think he got taken down quite quickly because I blinked and it happened. That's going to be the inhibitor going down next. Dexter gets picked up. They cannot get a combination of hook and infected cleaver in there. This is CLG taking the everything. Whoa, you have another inhibitor? We'll take that too. I'll be surprised if they go for Nexus turrets.
This could be it. They drop the two primary damage dealers of Curse, and they can shred anyone, as we've just seen. After we get soaked, it doesn't matter. Another
few shots. Special gonna go down quickly. They are just pretty much letting them walk the plank here as they enter into the fight, and CLG is more than happy to chew them up.
15,000 gold, 15 kills, 33 minutes. They're looking to win this one, Riv.
You can see Double Lift just activating the W to get the two passive shots off as well as the Sheen proc, taking out Quas as he gets onto the fountain. CLG coming out definitively here with the Seraph pickup. A beautiful job by Counterlogic Gaming, and the scrims, they do pay off. We see it coming in at 34 minutes into the game. CLG grabs the Nexus.
Smiles all around for CLG right there. They had a little hiccup in their mid-game with one lost team fight, but their composition outscaled. First look at Seraph. He did quite well. Even though he wasn't relied upon, he did the split pushing. He was a farm-starved Shyvana that was still effective in team fights and allowed the others to carry.
Right place at the right time. Not having that Shyvana, as I said, in the right place at the right time, doesn't allow the incorrect rotations to happen from the other team. If he's wandering back and forth, it's not going to work as well. He did his job. You could see him kind of sitting in the chair there and being like, I farmed a lot.
I killed minions, and I interrupted Shyvana.
That was awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot of questions about, hey, do not expect immediate success from CLG.
That's true.
You still can't expect it, but that was the fourth place team from last split, beat handily. CLG finished third last split, if we can remember, so it's only up from here because they want to reestablish their third place. They want to go for first.
You got to remember the beginning of this game, Counterlogic Gaming pretty much spread out a bit, and then 3 strong to do an invade, leaving a breadcrumb ward, making sure the escape was safe, and that's how they came up with the first kill. Very big there, and even Seraph blew his flash on that play, but still kept himself safe throughout the early part of the game without that flash.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that star of the top laner out. It's really the team's responsibility to find farm for that guy, because he's so weak that he can't sneak into situations and fight people. They have to draw the enemy team in places that allows the other team to farm. The team we've seen it done best in NA so far in these early 2 games we've seen was obviously Cloud9, because they are the ones who know how to get balls going more than anyone else. Curse didn't do a very good job with that game.
They did
Quas was never able to be that frontline tank, and it meant pain for the rest of the team. Voyboy, as soon as he went in, would get obliterated.
Right. We have to say as well, Curse coming in with a new team for themselves also shouldn't expect results right away. But we see it's not an unknown commodity pickup. It may be one of the better pickups that Curse has had to go through with throughout the leagues. They did have Edward, which was also an amazing pickup, but these pickups haven't shown amazing results for them.
No. Throughout time, Curse gets the big name pickup, and then they end up fizzling out. This needs to be a different time for them. And, you know, much like the game we just saw between TSM and Cloud9, the old TSM couldn't beat Cloud9. So how's the new TSM going to do it? Obviously, the old Curse did not fare well against CLG last split, and it's the beginning of something. They still have time to grow.
Absolutely. Let's toss it down to Kobe, who is on the stage with a member of the victorious CLG.
All right, thank you, Riv. I am here with Double Lift. Congratulations, Double Lift. Now, I got to start at the beginning of the game. 4.7. Trinkets are reduced, and what are CLG's thoughts on the level 1s with the new trinkets here? Because you had a very successful level 1.
Yeah, so right now the top teams, us, C9, and TSM, as far as I've seen, we all do essentially the same thing, which is just delay invading. Because 30-second wards don't really cover like 144 invades, which is how long it takes to go from your jungle to the enemy buff, you just walk from your jungle at like 144 to any one of the enemy buffs, and they're pretty much yours, unless they're 5-manning at that buff. But because of the change, you can 30-second ward their buff previous to the invade to make sure that it's safe. So everyone just kind of does the same invading level 1. That's why 2v1 is so popular.
Well, everyone didn't do that this time around, and you ended up with First Blood, and then again, Quas teleporting in. You guys actually pulled off a very nice 2 versus 1 tower dive. Who's giving the calls there? Was that you or Afro? It looked like Afro's leading that one.
Yeah, so when Mundo TP'd in, I was like, does he just want me to get 2 kills? Like, this is cool. And then I saw he was level 2, which is just a big shame because there's no way he can live at that point. I think I said initially, and then Afro just hit a really good bind. And also, we're notorious for having me get First Blood and then lose the game. So when I got First Blood, I actually got really nervous because I've gotten First Blood in a lot of games. We always lose.
Looks like you've broken the curse against Curse. Oh, that was bad. Sorry, Freak. I do want to ask you, though, about Seraph. Because everybody wants to know about Seraph. How is it actually playing with the Korean top laner?
So at first I was really not disappointed, I guess worried about his English in-game, just the communication, how it was going to be during the game, especially when the crowd's going crazy and like yelling stuff. It might be hard for us to understand him, but his communication is actually getting a lot better. And right now, I mean, he's just perfectly meshed with the team. Not like his English isn't perfect, but the way he talks in-game is very good.
I also just want to add one more onto that. Not many people are talking about what Link is bringing back from Cloud9. Has he brought it back a lot for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, when he played with the best team in North America, he definitely took some notes, I would say. And he's helped us out a lot with the information he got from Cloud9.
All right, successful espionage mission from Link then. Now, the final question, you guys are going up against LMQ later today. A lot of hype around LMQ coming into it. How do you feel about the matchup?
We actually played really poorly against Curse, and we're going to probably go back and watch our game and look at all the mistakes we made, because we made a lot. Yeah, that wasn't characteristic of us. Like, we normally don't play that badly in LCS, so even though we won, I'm pretty disappointed with our performance, and hopefully we don't play that badly against LMQ, or else we might lose.
All right, well, thank you, Double Lip, for your time. We are going to send it now over to Freak at our giant finger painting station.
Thank you very much, Kobe. I'm still a child at heart. I love finger paints, of course. So this is a game, CLG versus Curse, where I kept seeing CLG get dragon after dragon after dragon after dragon over and over, and Curse never really did much about it. But in this case, Curse tried to go for a Baron to kind of counteract that. So we're going to get that on your screen. And so, unfortunately, this Baron actually got stopped, because you notice that Seraph's already TP'd in, right? He's come down from his teleport. The rest of CLG is coming up from the bottom side. So they're going to go for a big battle here. Now, I want to set up this actual fight, because you realize Seraph's a bit low, Curse is a bit low, CLG's got a gold lead, actually. They're going to feel comfortable fighting this battle. what's interesting then is actually how CLG plays out their team comp in this sort of fight. So let's roll the clip out. Let's start it and see what happens. So Seraph's waiting around. He's going to eventually dive in once he spots that Cop's available. He's actually going to flash dive in, and then Morgana's going to follow up. So pause right here. Now, there's a gigantic cluster of champions here, but Afro, it's worth pointing out, has finished his Zhonya's Hourglass. We've seen support Morgana builds change over time. Right now, both Afro and Lemon are rushing Zhonya's on Morgs that they're engaged tools, that they're actual divers to help the team fight in there. Dexter's here back, helping double lift. Link's up here being a DPS right at the top of the fight. This is the back line of CLG. It's actually Afro and Seraph that are diving the front line, trying to kill the back line themselves, because you've got a Zhonya's, and Seraph actually could pull a Link ulti, and Link doesn't do it, so scumbag Link doesn't save his teammate. The synergy is not there, apparently. But let's roll the clip out and just watch how much havoc gets wreaked in the backline. Double lift, he got those 2 early kills. He deals so much damage. There's so much disruption from the 2-man dive. He gets free damage up right there, gets a chase down Cop, and it's actually a fairly easy fight for CLG at the end of all that one, just because they've gotten the gold lead from all the dragons. When Curse finally did try to make that big move, it didn't really work out for them. And as you saw, it was just an awesome fight for CLG. So, of course, next up we're going to see LMQ. Now, for the teams in the Challenger Series, the dream is to make it to the top tier and play in the LCS. Now, this year, 2 new teams made it in. When we come back, we'll get to see LMQ in their first LCS game against Evil Geniuses. As we go to the break, let's take a look at the road LMQ and Complexity took to get here, and salute all the players out there who aspire to achieve greatness, brought to you by our friends at Coca-Cola.
First and foremost, League of Legends is a very fun game. It's a MOBA, and it's like something that I very much enjoy.
I was pretty surprised. I was like, wait a second, you can actually make a living out of this in the future because it's getting so huge.
League of Legends for me is a measurement of my talent and my ability to show my hard work.
I'm prepared to change my mindset for being a well-known player.
If you qualify through the Challenger Series, you control your destiny.
Getting into LCS is a bit of a dream.
It's just something that I can look up to and say, I can get better at this. I'm not the best, I can get better, and I want to get better.
You can't make any plays by yourself. You know, it's a 5-man team, and there's no one person that's gonna make the game for everyone else.
It was a combination of dedication, hard work, a lot of determination, I'd say.
The only thing that can be on your mind is the game. Nothing else. Nothing else matters.
Being able to qualify kind of legitimately, by my own hard work is definitely a big goal for me, and I'm ready to take that step.
I'm in my own little world where it says, I will play my game and I'll do whatever it takes. I'll play as good as I can.
To play this game and to happen to like it and be good at it is a bit of a dream.
If we lose in the relegation, as a team, we would have to sit down and talk to each other because there's like a lot you're giving up when you lose.
We can maybe make it into LCS next split.
Getting into the LCS is the end goal.
It's going to be my biggest day in the last year of my life.
This could be the game. They're trying to win the game and take it into the LCS. The Nexus is falling. LMQ are in the LCS. Complexity Black make it into the LCS. And they absolutely deserve this spot.